Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I'll talk about Yokai Watch's weirdest random events, Clown Time and the Red Box. This video was second on the poll I did a while ago. The main reason I wanted to make this is that both of these things aren't very well documented. Well yes, if you go searching, you'll find lots about it, but I want to save people time and condense it all into one YouTube video. I also searched and there doesn't seem to already be a video about either of these things that isn't in Japanese or isn't just a clip of stuff that happens. Well, I would usually start in chronological order, but this time I think I'll start with Clown Time, so let's get into it. I take back what I said in my Infinite Tunnel Hazy Lane video. This is definitely scarier than both of those. Well, what is Clown Time? Late at night, which is any time after midnight, in BBQ, you can sometimes see someone who calls this game a Pokemon ripoff, a clown. If he sees you, you have to run into a spotlight or somewhere on the map before the clown catches up to you. I will warn you, the clown is stupid fast. If you run out of stamina, it's game over. I'll also add that this can only happen after you get to the point in the story where the circus comes to town. The clown will only spawn in specific locations, 3 in each main BBQ area. In Southmont he can spawn outside the House of Boxes, the road around the post office, and the car park at the top. In East Pine he can be found outside the Phantom Art, the alley south of Bob's Watches, and the graveyard. And in North Beach you'll find him outside City Hall, around the market buildings, and right outside the ferry. You'll also walk around a loop in these locations. Even if you forget these, an easy way to tell where he is just look for a moving NPC on the map that normally isn't there. If you want to avoid him, I'd recommend just avoiding all moving NPCs. Remember though, he only spawns late at night, so anytime before midnight you won't see him. There seems to be a common misconception that I even used to believe, because it's on the wiki. That wiki is full of mistakes/information, especially about these two things. That he is more likely to spawn in certain locations. This is just untrue. He has an equal chance to spawn at any of those locations, which is pretty high from my testing. Perhaps this comes from the fact that the locations listed on the wiki are the most well-known ones. Anyway, what happens when you escape? Well, you simply just get an item. These can range from as small XP orb to what you really want from this, the Snowstorm Cloak, Chillwawa's fusion item, who I actually used on my second Yokai Watch 3 playthrough and grinded Clown Time, which is probably why I don't find it as scary as I would. Also, I know you can easily get it from Blaster's Tea, but some people don't like using Blaster's Tea, and anyway, I hadn't even touched Blaster's Tea on that save file. Anyway, the only other valuable item you can get is a golden doll. The rest are kinda bad, like a cupcake or the pest quest. Anyway, the moment you've been waiting for, what happens when he catches you? Well, Nate dies, and then wakes up in a game show with the clown in the circus. You'll then do one of 3 things. You battle Necronia, Necrosnarl, and Necromut. You battle Zomgorlos, who isn't even the medallion by the way, for some reason. Or, it triggers Zombie Night. Though it wouldn't trigger Zombie Night if you already beaten it. Which, by the way, I have now beaten Zombie Night since the Terror Time video, and I can confidently say it's better than Yokai Watch 1 Terror Time. After this, the player wakes up in bed as if it was all a dream, regardless of if they win or not. Once again, the wiki is wrong about this. It says Necro Owl can be battled as one of the 3 zombie yokai, and also includes Zomgorlos in that, which is just straight up wrong. For some reason, the clown has a page on Villains Wiki, which is actually better than the page on the Yokai Watch Wiki, and doesn't have any misinformation. Like, it's actually good, and I'd recommend reading it over the Yokai Watch Wiki article any day. The wiki also claims his name is Piero, likely due to in Japanese clown time is called Piero time. But it's called that because Piero is a Japanese word for clown. The player can encounter him immediately after by just reloading the area, because even if you escape or get caught, he'll still be able to spawn. Well, that's most of clown time itself, but there are a couple more things I want to say. First off, how scary this is for a kid's game. Like, sure, other things scared me, but this was next level. Remember that killer clown trend back in, I don't even remember, 2016 question mark? I mean, I say 2016 as that's the year this game was released, which may have inspired the devs to add this, but who knows. Also, I'm just completely guessing there because I don't want to look that up again. I remember seeing reaction channels looking at this stuff, and I remember people talking about it at school, which made this extra scary for me. I've said this before, but I basically myself when this first happened to me. I remember my heart was pounding more than it ever had when playing Yokai Watch. The music helps with this too, as it gives off creepy vibes, especially that laugh at the start. I've heard people comparing it to Luigi's Mansion, which I can definitely see. This song was also the same as the poltz, the haunted house rhythm minigame you do in the story. The other thing I want to talk about is lore. Now, I'm no lore expert, especially when it comes to making theories, so I'll try my best. The clown clearly has some connection with zombies and Zombie Night, which doesn't say much as they're already pretty mysterious. What even is the clown? A human? A yokai? A zombie perhaps? Where did he come from? Well, I guess a circus. Why does he do these things, and specifically to the player and no one else? Leave your theories down in the comments. By the way, all this clown time stuff was all my own testing, so if you have any questions or if there's anything I missed, tell me in the comments. Now let's move on to the more complicated of the two, the red box. Sometimes in Springdale in both 2 and 3, similarly to the clown, a man wearing orange will come up to you and give you a red box, warning you that bad things will happen if you open it. I like to call him the red box guy, or just Boxman for short. As far as I'm aware, similarly to the clown, Boxman can only spawn in specific locations, being, from my testing plus things I've seen online, 3 in each area except Mount Wildwood, the same as the clown. So obviously there are way more, so I won't list them all as I don't know them all, because he's also way less common than the clown. I will list all the locations I found him, even if I don't have footage of them. I found him here in Uptown, here in Uptown, here in Uptown, here in Blossom Heights, here in Downtown, here in Downtown, here in Downtown, here in Breezy Hills, here in Breezy Hills, here in Excellent Tower, here in Excellent Tower, here in San Fantasco, and here in Sparkopolis. We also asked my community and Reddit, and these are some other Boxman locations. I actually used to think that Blossom Heights one was scripted, as I came across it both times I played Yokai Watch 2 after encountering Terror Time for the first time, and I was shocked when I found out it wasn't. Once again, it's easy to find him, even if you don't know the locations, as he'll be a moving NPC that isn't normally there, which makes him easier to find at night, as there are less NPCs, though as far as I'm aware, he has an equal chance to spawn during the day and at night, though I could be wrong, as like I've said, there isn't much about this. If you want to easily spawn him, I'd recommend going back and forth, reloading the area between Excellent Tower and Breezy Hills, as there's 2 locations which are right next to where you reload in Excellent Tower, in Yokai Watch 2 at least. This may require more testing, but from what I've seen online, in Yokai Watch 3, he'll only respawn after sleeping a day, though I could be wrong. Well, what exactly does the red box do? Well, if you don't open it and see Boxman again, you can choose to give it back, and he'll give you a reward, which aren't really worth it as it's just Crank-a-Guy coins and books in Yokai Watch 2, but in Yokai Watch 3 you can get local Yokai fusion items. If you don't give it back, then it'll be the same as when you open the box. Sometimes in Yokai Watch 3, the red box will call you, enticing the player to open it. Opening it is as simple as going into your inventory and pressing A, but sometimes the player can trip, which can also have a chance of automatically opening it. The outcome of opening the box is determined when Boxman spawns, not when you talk to him or when you get the box. So in order to soft reset, you kinda have to just exit and re-enter the area in Yokai Watch 2. In Yokai Watch 3, you have to sleep in order to reset Boxman spawns, which is much more annoying. I just realized I wrote that in the script twice, so just ignore that, but oh well. Wiki also says that the outcome is determined by how long you've had the box, which is completely untrue. Now, what actually happens when you open the box? In Yokai Watch 2, opening the box will either give you an afro for 30 minutes, make you fart for 30 minutes, make it so that you're much more likely to trip for 30 minutes, fight Cerberus, which is the only way to get him in that game, you get 10p gum, and finally, most notably, triggers canine time. It basically turns you into a dog in this random house in Breezy Hills, and all you can do is walk around and bark. As the days go by, a few NPCs will walk by, including Whisper, who's looking for you. At the end, Boxman comes along and tells you shouldn't have opened it. After that, the player wakes up as if it was all a dream. It is mostly the same in Yokai Watch 3. First off, Cerberus is replaced with Harem Scarum, which is a lot less exciting. Secondly, canine time is completely different. You are now Katie's dog, which I guess is a bit weird. You can freely explore her house, and talking to her, you'll go to the park. After a while, you go back home, and then back to the park. But this time, after you go home, there will be yokai around the house. You have to bark at them to get rid of them. After you come back from your third trip to the park, there will be more yokai in the house which you have to bark at. The final time you go to the park, the yokai follow you there, and you have to get rid of them at the park. And after that, it's revealed that Katie was a mimicking the whole time. And it ends the same way as 2. Boxman comes up to you and you wake up in bed as if it was all a dream. There's actually a new event which is definitely the coolest. You're transported to Terror Time, but this time, you're Gargaros. You go around scaring off yokai. Until eventually you meet up with Ogrelus and Arcanos. And you wake up like it was a dream. I was gonna try not adding anything during editing, but why do they call them ogres, like just in this one specific, like, dialogue? Like, why don't just call them Onis? Like, I guess they've also called them demons before, but like, I don't see the problem with just calling them Onis. I mean, that's what they are. That's what they literally call it, like, in the game. It's literally only this one specific instance they call them ogres. Which, I mean, I guess technically is, like, the translation or whatever, but, whatever. Not a huge deal. I mean, it's Yokai Watch 3, what'd you expect? You know, typos everywhere, but I guess it adds a bit to the charm of the game. When the red box calls you and you open it, Boxman will grant your wish and present you with 3 options. One triggers canine time, one triggers a harem scarum battle, and the other triggers a terror time one. And it's pretty obvious which one's which is proven by the fact that I haven't even tested any of these and I already know which one's which. I also want to shout out these Reddit posts, which were a massive help with this, and link them both in the description. They even include a couple minor things that I haven't talked about. As for lore, I really got nothing on this one. Perhaps Boxman was sent by Lord Enma to the human world to teach children a lesson of not trusting strangers or something. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him. He does command the Onis, and in the second movie he does various things like giving Komo-san's mom a human child, or sending Jibanyan, Robanyan F and Shogunyan into the future, 2023. Huh. Anyway, that's just a theory that I literally just came up with. A game theory. Speaking of the anime, the red box also appears there, as well as Canine Time. While not as creepy as a clown, Boxman and the red box is still very mysterious and eerie. Like, imagine some random guy comes up to you and gives you a red box and tells you not to open it. Like, I'd be very weirded out by that. Like, you might not think a lot of this stuff is scary, but then you just imagine it in real life and you're like, what the f. Well, that was most of the red box stuff. If you want to know more specific details, I'd recommend checking out the Reddit posts I talked about in the description. Once again, if you find anything or have any questions, tell me in the comments, as there's bound to be stuff I've missed. Well, that was some of the creepiest things in these games. I didn't actually talk about really how creepy these are, as I didn't want the video to drag on too long. But it's pretty self-explanatory. I hope this video helped you with, I don't know, something, and if it did, leave a like. A few years ago I would have never thought there would be any sort of connection between these two, but I think it was on the comment section of the Clown Time song that I read a comment that said he's basically the BBQ version of Boxman, and that's when it all clicked. I also want to mention this here, so for 100 subscribers, I'm doing a community boss ranking for Yokai Watch Blasters, and I'd really appreciate it if you fill out the form in the description, as I only have like 5 responses at the time of writing this. I'm also doing a Q&A, so leave your questions for me in the comments. As usual, like and sub if you like this and want to see more, and comment your thoughts on these two things. Not much else to say, so I'll see you in the next one. Jeez, that was way longer than I originally thought. I thought, oh, this will be a nice, you know, shorter video to make, but nope. Okay, anyway.